The numbers don't lie. 141,600 immigrants arriving in a single year, a 415% increase in asylum applications, and nearly 30,000 people living in state-provided shelters. These staggering figures paint a picture of an Ireland on the brink, struggling to cope with the overwhelming pressures of mass immigration. Ireland, known for its warm hospitality and rich culture, has traditionally been a country people left to find better opportunities abroad. But recently the tables have turned. Now Ireland is dealing with a huge number of immigrants, and this has greatly affected the country's resources and way of life. In the year leading up to April 2023, Ireland saw an unprecedented increase in immigration. Official numbers show that 141,600 immigrants arrived in the country, the highest number in 16 years. This was a 50% increase from the previous year, with net inward migration standing at 77,600. The COVID-19 pandemic initially slowed migration, but as restrictions lifted, the numbers surged. Adding to this, Ireland has welcomed over 100,000 Ukrainians fleeing the war since Russia's invasion in February 2022. While this humanitarian effort is commendable, it has added immense pressure on the country's resources. Ireland's asylum system is overwhelmed. There has been a staggering 415% increase in asylum applications. In the first 8 months of 2023 alone, over 26,000 asylum seekers arrived, marking nearly a 200% increase from 2019. This influx mirrors broader trends across Europe, where countries are struggling to manage the rising number of asylum seekers. Nearly 30,000 people are now living in state-provided shelters in Ireland. The housing and accommodation crisis, a persistent issue for the past decade, has been worsened by this sudden increase in demand. The government's ability to provide adequate housing and basic necessities is under severe strain, leading to widespread dissatisfaction among the native population. The surge in immigration has brought significant economic challenges. Ireland's welfare system, already stretched thin, is now falling under pressure. The cost of providing social benefits, health care, and education to the growing immigrant population has skyrocketed. This has sparked a heated debate on the sustainability of Ireland's welfare state. As the city's resources strain under the weight of the influx, tensions are rising and the community cohesion is being tested. Protests, riots, and even arson attacks targeting asylum seeker accommodations have become all too common, not just in the capital, but in smaller towns like Roscrea as well. And the locals have had enough of the sugarcoating and political correctness that's crippling their country. They're not just concerned, they're enraged that their neighborhoods are changing beyond recognition. And why wouldn't they be? They're seeing the effects firsthand. Jobs are harder to come by. Their culture is being diluted and crime rates are climbing. The so-called solutions from the government are laughable, merely band-aids on an open wound. It's time for some real talk in these town hall meetings. Enough of this tiptoeing around the issue. If the people leading the discussion don't start acknowledging these harsh realities, then it's only a matter of time before the citizens take matters into their own hands. Unemployment rates among immigrants are significantly higher compared to the native population, like in many European countries that are dealing with immigrants. Many immigrants struggle to find employment due to language barriers, lack of skills, and cultural differences. This has led to increased reliance on social welfare, further straining public finances. Ireland's housing crisis has reached unprecedented levels. The simultaneous demand for housing by both immigrants and native citizens has led to skyrocketing rents and property prices. Many Irish citizens are finding it increasingly difficult to secure affordable housing, leading to growing resentment towards immigrants. The government's efforts to build modular homes and provide temporary accommodations have been met with criticism. While these measures provide short-term relief, they do not address the underlying issues of housing supply and affordability. The rapid rise in immigration has significantly impacted public opinion. A majority of Irish citizens are now calling for stricter immigration controls. Concerns over housing shortages, rising living costs, and high-profile crimes committed by immigrants have fueled anti-immigration sentiments. Protests against the government's handling of mass immigration have erupted across the country. Demonstrations have taken place in cities, towns, and villages, with protesters demanding an end to the open borders policy. The government has been accused of prioritizing immigrants over the needs of its own citizens, leading to widespread anger and frustration. The situation has been further complicated by the UK's Rwanda bill. This controversial legislation allows the UK government to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda for processing, regardless of their country of origin. Fearing deportation to Rwanda, many migrants are now choosing Ireland as a safer alternative. This has contributed to the dramatic rise in immigration numbers and placed additional pressure on Ireland's already strained resources. The political landscape in Ireland has shifted dramatically in response to the immigration crisis. Populist and far-right parties have gained significant traction by capitalizing on public discontent. These parties advocate for stricter immigration controls and a focus on protecting native interests. The mainstream political parties have been forced to reassess their positions on immigration. The ruling coalition has introduced new measures to curb the influx of immigrants and tighten asylum regulations. These measures include new regulations aimed to streamline the asylum process and reduce the number of asylum seekers entering Ireland. This includes faster processing times and stricter criteria for granting asylum. The government has introduced tougher laws to ensure that rejected asylum seekers are swiftly deported. This move is intended to deter false asylum claims and reduce the burden on the asylum system. The government has proposed cuts to social benefits for immigrants to reduce the financial strain on the welfare system. This includes limiting access to housing, health care, and other social services. Ireland's approach to handling mass immigration is not unique. Across Europe, countries are grappling with similar challenges. Nations like Denmark and Sweden have implemented stringent immigration policies to protect their welfare states and cultural identities. These countries have introduced measures such as temporary protection statuses, deportation of economic migrants, and restrictions on family reunification. Denmark, for example, has successfully reduced the number of asylum seekers by implementing strict immigration policies and focusing on protecting native interests. The Danish government has introduced laws that allow for the confiscation of valuables from new arrivals to fund their stay and limit the number of non-Danish people living in certain neighborhoods. Sweden, once known for its open-door policy, has also tightened its immigration regulations in response to rising crime rates and social tensions. The government has implemented stricter border controls, reduced asylum applications, and focused on integrating immigrants into Swedish society. Ireland stands at a crossroads. The government must balance its humanitarian obligations with the need to protect its own citizens and maintain social cohesion. The current trajectory of mass immigration is unsustainable, and significant changes are necessary to ensure the country's stability and prosperity. To address the challenges posed by mass immigration, Ireland must implement stricter immigration controls. This includes strengthening border controls to prevent unauthorized entry and reduce the number of illegal immigrants. Implementing thorough background checks for all immigrants to ensure they do not pose a security threat. Adopting policies that prioritize skilled immigrants who can contribute to the economy and integrate smoothly into Irish society. Effective integration programs are crucial to ensure that immigrants can become productive. Ireland's struggle with mass immigration is a complex and multifaceted issue. The unprecedented surge in immigration has placed immense pressure on the country's resources, leading to socio-economic challenges and growing public discontent. The government must take decisive action to address these challenges and ensure the stability and prosperity of the nation. By implementing stricter immigration controls, enhancing integration programs, and engaging with the public, Ireland can navigate this crisis and create a more sustainable future. The lessons learned from other European countries can serve as valuable guides in shaping Ireland's immigration policies. As the debate over immigration continues, it is essential to prioritize the well-being of Irish citizens while fulfilling humanitarian obligations. Only through a balanced and pragmatic approach can Ireland successfully manage the pressures of mass immigration and secure a prosperous future for all its residents. How do you think Ireland should handle its immigration crisis? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe